because some people think voting is democracy, and once you vote, you come back to it after 5 years. Democracy is much more than voting.
The democratic process doesn't stop at the ballot box, where citizens decide whether to keep their leaders in office or not.
Democracy is the government of people, by the people, for the people.
Kubanga democracy bwe bwenkanya ofune kyenkanyi nange funona afune kyenkanyi.
Democracy nyesi agogong nejas itunga aseuni ibore araswa miso ne kotoskesi anejai longa rene kosi.
Democracy kleva chol kirama ananianke obero ni obero tela padano man be pidano.
What democracy means to me is the freedom of the press.
Democracy to me means my ability to be able to decide on who governs me and how.
Democracy to me means the right to choose. The right to choose who governs you, the right to choose the direction, the strategic direction your growth and development should take, and the right to choose health and all the human rights that people are entitled to.
Democracy is about creating opportunity, and it's very difficult to imagine democracy without good governance and the rule of law.
Omuntu yenna nga alina eddembe lye ng'omuntu kitegera okusinziira ku kiki abayagala okukola kasa kibanga tekimenya mateeka nga tekinyigiriza muntu mulala.
In my community, I have sensitized the community on respecting human rights and at the same time exercising the human rights, respecting people, respecting children, avoiding things like child labor.
We have a series of lectures and series of seminars which speak to issues of gender equality, speak to issues of human rights, participation, civic education.
Being the umbrella body of the business community, we have quite a number of diverse partnerships with different backgrounds on gender, environment, business, and so on and so forth. So what we're trying to promote here, beyond profitability, is really shared value. That every individual in the setting that we have as PSFU has got an opportunity to contribute to growth.
Njerizo kuyamba abantu bingi kubagambira about democracy echeru kumanyisa omuntu akatera karura ka muntu warukwenda tibyo kurwana ko rugampo zo kugwana mugenzi we ngo kwa yaronda naka ngori ati yamurona ngoze kumutera bene betaba democracy omuntu nabayine obusinje bwe yo kurondo warakundo warenda
utie NTP pikonyo wandano pinu yore mo maro mo bedo ki guak mabe machalo ile mono ge wajo ni security.
The major contribution that any of us can make in my sector is the ability to be able to link with policymakers, to talk to politicians, and to be able to hear their side of the story, but more importantly, to make sure that they hear our side of the story, because we've got the research, we've done the analysis, and therefore probably in a position to be able to support them.
Encouraged a lot of my classmates to join the Uganda Law Society, to join these public debates. Where I work in my other job in National Water, I always encourage my members to get involved in the discussions that affect this country. But I've also encouraged a few of my friends to actually get involved in leadership and stand for office.
In terms of my peers, I've encouraged all of them to begin to imagine that the future they want to live can only be determined by their active participation now in decisions that will determine the kind of society you live in, if there is justice, if there's economic equity, if there's inclusion for minorities and the weakest in our society.
The democratic process, it's an ongoing process with all players in society. That dialogue has to go on throughout the mandate period and not only during campaigning.